All right, so in this little video, let's take a look at virtualization. I wanted you to kind of see it running, what's happening with it. So I've got Oracle VM VirtualBox running, which is free. You can go out and get it. Let's pop over there real quick. But you can go and search for this and download it. And then you can install Windows 10 inside of Windows 10 or Windows 95 inside of Windows 10. Or you can install OpenSUSE in there. You can have Linux running and install Windows 10 in it, or have a Mac use this software and run Windows 10. There's lots of things you can do, and that's done by a lot of tech people. As a matter of fact, a lot of tech people have a Mac because you can run the Mac OS, and you can run Windows 10 in it, and you can run Linux. Oh, fantastic. So what this is providing is a layer of control between the host OS, which is hosting the VM, that's Windows 10, and the actual virtual machine, which is, in this case, OpenSUSE. This software is telling OpenSUSE what it gets to do. It's telling it that you get 2 gigs of RAM. It's telling it that you have an optical hard drive, an optical disk, doesn't, and a hard disk, which it does. It's telling it this is your video memory and this is what you can do with it. So Oracle is doing that, and you can come in and change those settings. Now, I've got the thing running, so what you're going to see is everything grayed out because you can't change hardware settings on a VM while it's running. That would cause a system crash. That's like you just saying, well, my system's running, but I think I'll change out the RAM right now. Not a good idea. So we have storage here, and notice this is OpenSUSE VDI, and that VDI is a format for Oracle VM VirtualBox. And it's a file, and it actually tells you where that file is. So I want to show you that inside OpenSUSE, it thinks it has a 20 gig hard drive, but in reality, that's just a file inside the host OS. It also thinks that there's still this DVD drive attached to it, and this thing has no DVD. Instead, this is actually just an ISO image sitting inside this computer. You can change the audio settings. You can change how many processors that you give it and what the execution cap on that is. And what that means is that I could, for instance, say, well, I did. You got 2 processors, but you only get to use 52% processors. They actually color code things for you, so you can see that I really shouldn't take that slider and move it up to 4 CPUs because that's all the machine has. And then I would be telling OpenSUSE, hey, as a guest operating system, you can go ahead and use all the CPU power I have. Now, the computer really won't allow that, but it really messes things up, slows things down terribly. So usually you don't want to give it everything you have. But I could say, you know what, use all 4 CPUs, but you only get 38% of those CPUs. So there's different things you can do within this, change your display options, what kind of audio, share, network stuff out through shared folders. And again, all these settings are pretending to be the hardware of the actual computer. So when you finally go into your guest operating system, in this situation, OpenSUSE, it's only going to see what you told it. And so right here, this is, Dolphin that you navigate stuff with. So let me go down, and here's devices. Notice that right here, there's an 18.6 gigabyte hard drive. Now, the reason it's not 20 gigs is because Linux, when it sets itself up, it partitions things and makes them swapped and stuff like that. And then here's that DVD drive. This is literally just a file sitting on the desktop, but it's accessing it like it's a DVD drive, and the same with this hard drive. It's saying, oh, that's a 20 gig drive. No, it's not. It's a file sitting inside of Windows 10. Virtualization is just flat out fun because you get to install whatever you want without messing up the computer. I'll have people all the time say, yeah, I really want to mess with Linux, and I've got an old computer that I'm going to put it on. I'm like, just get VirtualBox, Oracle VirtualBox. It's free. And then install the OS inside of it, and you're ready to go. There's actually VDIs out there of systems that have already been installed, and you can download. One of the cool things is that you can actually just save the machine state, which means when I come back to this VM, it'll start right where it left off. Now, on the server side of it, that's very powerful. So in our CMP 255 class, we take a look at that. Like, how do you use this on a server side? Because students don't normally get exposed to that. There's a lot of schools don't teach that unless you don't take some upper level classes. But we do that in 255, and we kind of mess around with that. 255 is only offered in the spring because I'm hoping people will take other things, so they'll be a little more prepped for taking that. But that in that class, we actually use a server that's got a bunch of hard drives in it, and you remote into it, and you administer it, and do different things. This is doing the same thing, but just for a PC. That's going to be, of course, a little slower in how it gets things done, but it still does its job. So if you want to play with virtualization, go out and look for Oracle VM VirtualBox, download it, go out and get a version of Linux, like Mint, something probably smaller than OpenSUSE, download it and put it in there. If you have any questions, let me know. If we can get together if you want, and I can show you how this stuff works, especially if you have a notebook. You can bring it in and we can go through actually setting that up if you want. Or I can do a video, and show you how to go through and actually set it up. I have a video that shows you how to set this up actually. So if you have any questions, let me know. Let me know.